Hey everybody, welcome to another comic book review. In this video, I'll be talking about Book 5 of Alan Moore's Saga of the Swamp Thing. This volume picks up immediately after the climactic battle that happened in the fourth book. And it sees Abby Arcane in jail for, as the judge puts it, crimes against nature. And she skips out on bail and goes to Gotham City, where she's taken in again by cops. And she meets with Harvey Bullock, Detective Harvey Bullock, and Commissioner James Gordon, which you'll be familiar with from Batman. And Swamp Thing, after getting back from this battle, looking for his wife, has no idea where she is and is furious to find that his wife has been jailed. And so he goes to Gotham City in search of Abby, and he has a run-in with Batman, and he has to go up against Batman in combat, and it is absolutely riveting. I never thought that a battle between Swamp Thing and Batman could be anything more than like goofy and silly, but it's some intense stuff and it's awesome. So basically Swamp Thing goes up against Batman in order to try and get Abby back. And he basically turns all of Gotham City into pretty much a jungle, and he makes everything green and just covered in nature and trees, and it's really incredible. And then you get a whole section with Abby, and she meets back up with Liz Tremaine, who had a very, very brief appearance in Volume 1 of Alan Moore's run of Swamp Thing. But before Alan Moore came along, she was like a more prominent character in Swamp Thing. She was a journalist, and she was in love with a man named Dennis. And after the first issue of Alan Moore's run on the series, she and Dennis kind of were almost forgotten about until this chapter came along, and it sees Dennis as a very possessive, controlling figure who basically wants Liz all to himself at all times, and this has caused some serious mental effects on Liz, and she goes to Abby for help, and Dennis, of course, comes after them, and it's a thrilling issue, very realistic and timely, even more so now than when it was first released. And then the final issue of this volume sees Swamp Thing on an unknown planet, and everything is blue. And this issue is called My Blue Heaven. And honestly, it's chilling. It's wonderful and poetic, and I mean, those are things that I would use, those are words that I would use to describe pretty much all of Alan Moore's run. But this particular issue especially, there's so much done with the use of color, and just like the monochromatic color scheme of just having everything be different shades of blue, it really shows the surreal nature of the situation that Swamp Thing has found himself in. And this kind of marks the turn from Alan Moore's horror kind of Swamp Thing influences, and he takes a turn into more sci-fi than horror. And I mean, that's not to say that there aren't some really terrifying things happening still, but he takes a more sci-fi approach than he does horror, specifically in this volume. And it's great. It's really wonderful. It's the shortest volume in the series, actually, but it covers a lot of ground, and it does so in a way that I think is really cool. Also worth mentioning is after the final issue of book 4, the final issue that was in that book, John Totalbin and Stephen Bissette kind of left the series. Now, Totalbin does have, I think it's like 4 pages in one of the issues in this book, but most of the art is handled by Rick Veitch and Alfredo Alcala, and Totalbin and Bissette kind of left after the final issue that we got to see in book 4. And really, I couldn't be happier with the similarities to Totalbin and Bissette's work in the previous volumes. Like this, the art, and I think it's helped by the coloring. The art does not look really any different at first glance. I mean, you can see slight differences if you give it a closer look and like you really analyze and look back on like some of the previous volumes. But really, like the style of art that is carried over from the previous volumes to this one, it's done beautifully. And really, if I hadn't known ahead of time that there was like a switch of artists, I really don't think I would have been able to tell, because the nuances, the details from the previous 4 volumes where Totalbin and Bissette did most of the art, Veitch and Alcala handle the art wonderfully here, and they're really good at keeping with the tone of the art from the previous 4 volumes. It's great stuff. This is a fantastic volume to an incredible run. And those are my thoughts on Book 5 of Saga of the Swamp Thing. Thank you as always for watching. Look forward to more videos in the future, and have a great day.